On TV News Prime, federal government inaugurates presidential task force on Ebola virus disease preparedness. In business, federal government issues transition guidelines for implementation of Task Act 2025. And on foreign scene, United Nations Children's Fund says a child killed on daily basis in Gaza amid ceasefire. And in sports, Moroccan football star Hakimi to stand trial for rape in French court. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Prime on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Jumai Manson. Now, quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365, Star Times channel 276, and Free TV. Now the news info. The federal government says it is considering a new initiative that would allow journalists to accompany military personnel during selected operations as part of effort to improve security reporting and strengthen public understanding of the country's security challenges. Minister of Defense General Christopher Musa disclosed a proposal at the National Assembly Summit organized by the Nigerian Union of Journalists in Abuja. Represented by his special advisor, Rear Admiral Olusonya Bankole, the minister said the initiative is aimed at fostering closer collaboration between the media and security agencies while promoting greater transparency in military operations. As Nigeria grapples with terrorism, banditry, kidnapping, and other emerging security threats, key stakeholders are moving to straighten security architecture through legislative reforms, sustainable intelligence funding, and renewed effort to establish state police. However, the Directorate of State Services, DSS, has kicked against the idea of allowing foreign funding of its activities. A bill before the House of Representatives is designed to establish a framework to overhaul the funding of the secret police, which includes foreign sources. Benue State Governor Hyacinth Alia has reaffirmed his administration's commitment to sustained funding for the University of Agriculture, Science and Technology, Ahuga. The governor made the pledge at the institution's maiden matriculation ceremony, where 668 pioneer students were formally admitted into various academic programs. Felicity Indere tells us more.
The University of Agriculture, Science and Technology, IHU, recorded a major milestone with the matriculation of its first set of students. The 668 pioneer students took the matriculation oath, officially commencing their academic journey at the institution. The historic ceremony attracted government officials, education stakeholders, traditional rulers, parents, and community leaders. Addressing the students, Governor Hyacinth Alia charged them to remain disciplined, focused, and committed to academic excellence. The governor also assured the university of continuous government support and called on private investors and development partners to contribute to the institution's growth and development.
You must remember that you are the living promise of this institution. Many of you come from homes where agriculture is a daily reality. You now have the opportunity to marry ancestral knowledge with modern science.
Earlier, the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Christobeg Amwa, congratulated the students and urged them to justify the confidence reposed in them through hard work and good conduct. He expressed optimism that the institution would become a leading center for agricultural and scientific research.
We are building a skills-driven polymatic university, a university that teaches, ends, and transforms. Here, knowledge must translate into competence, and certificates must be matched by practical skills.
Some of the matriculating students described the occasion as a dream come true and pledged to make the institution proud.
My vision here is coming out with a good result that will help the state and the country at large.
I'm so happy, I'm so glad to be matriculated today. I want to use this opportunity to appreciate God for today. I'm so happy.
The matriculation marks the beginning of academic activities at the university, with expectations high that it will contribute significantly to manpower development and agricultural advancement in Benue State and Nigeria at large. From EU in Vanika local government area of Benue State, Felicity Ndare reporting for Global Television News.
The federal government has inaugurated a presidential task force on Ebola virus disease preparedness, declaring that Nigeria will not wait for any outbreak before taking action vowing to prevent a repeat of the 2014 Ebola scare. Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbagbo-Mila, said the task force was established as a proactive measure to ensure the country is fully prepared against any possible outbreak of the deadly disease, even as he confirmed that no case of Ebola had been reported in Nigeria. Speaking with journalists after inaugurating the task force at the State House in Abuja, Dr. Gbagbo-Mila said government focus is on prevention rather than response, noting that authorities are determined not to be caught unprepared. The Department of State Services in Kano State has arrested a suspected arms trafficker who was allegedly attempting to smuggle weapons into the state. Now, the suspect was apprehended during an operation by security operatives as efforts continue to curb the proliferation of illegal firearms and enhance public safety. Global TV's Idris Jibrin reports that 3 AK-47 rifle and 1 RPG were recovered from the suspect. The report.
Security agencies have recorded another breakthrough in the fight against the illegal movement of firearms, following the arrest of a suspected arms trafficker by the Department of State Services in Kano. The suspect was intercepted while allegedly attempting to transport a cache of weapons from Maigatari in Jigawa State to Mai-Adwa in Katsina State.
Maigatari ko nan wani dan ƙauyen sana to nace masa bana zuwa dai ya matsa min kamar zuwa sati daya a haka again to jiya da naje can wajen wurin kawai sai nika ta da shiya sai ya kaje ya ka dauko guda aka dauko ya ka kawo to bayan ya kawo su ne kuma na zo na biyo hanya.
The operation, according to security sources, forms part of ongoing efforts to combat arms trafficking and prevent criminal activities that threaten peace and security. The arrest underscores the commitment of security agencies to safeguarding lives and property through intelligence-led operation and enhanced surveillance. Authorities say investigations are ongoing to determine the source of the weapons, identify possible accomplices, and establish the intended destination of the firearms. The DSS has urged members of the public to remain vigilant and continue to provide credible information to security agencies, stressing that public cooperation is essential in the fight against crime and insecurity. From Kano, Idris Jibrin, Global Television News.
The federal government is considering a new initiative that will allow journalists to accompany military personnel during selected operations as part of effort to improve security reporting and strengthen public understanding of the country's security challenges. The governors, under the aegis of the Nigerian Governors Forum, NGF, also noted that the collaborative efforts of other stakeholders, adding that consultation outcomes will strengthen the state's collective position. The governors have also reiterated their commitment to ongoing power sector reforms and to strengthen collaboration among stakeholders to expand access to reliable and affordable electricity for Nigerians. Kano State Government has launched a new digital news multimedia unit as part of effort to modernize government communication and enhance digital media operations. Commissioner for Information and Internal Affairs Ibrahim Weya, who inaugurated the unit, said the initiative is aimed at aligning the ministry's communication strategy with global digital trends and improving the dissemination of government information to the public. Global TV's Idris Jibrin tells us more.
As part of efforts to align with global best practices in digital communication and enhance public awareness, the newly established Digital News Multimedia Unit is expected to strengthen the dissemination of government information through modern digital platforms. The unit will support government agencies, organizations, and media outlets in delivering timely and accurate information, including policy updates, public health advisories, emergency alerts, and other public service announcements.
Some of our partners, let me give example of DW. DW is a partner of Freedom Radio for the past 18 years. They have closed their radio programming. What they do is that they share the content to the partner stations across the world.
The Commissioner for Information and Internal Affairs, Ibrahim Abdullahi Waya, called on information officers and directors in the ministry to rededicate themselves to their duties, emphasizing the need for professionalism, teamwork, and commitment in delivering accurate and timely information to the people of Kano State.
That an occasion of this significance genuinely demands you are not merely witnessing to the creation of a new government department, you are witnesses to a decision that will fundamentally alter the relationship between Kano State government and the 20 billion people.
The Commissioner also reaffirmed the commitment of Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf's administration to advancing digital communication across the state. He assured that the ministry would provide modern equipment and other essential working tools to enhance their efficiency and productivity.
Today, a significant and growing majority of our people now depend on digital and multimedia platforms, not as a convenience or an entertainment option, but as the primary channel through which they access education, receive information, conduct commerce, engage in marketing and trade, seek health guidance, pursue spiritual development, maintain social relationships, participate in civic life, and connect with the world beyond the boundaries.
The establishment of the Digital News Multimedia Unit is expected to strengthen the ministry's digital presence, improve public access to government information, and promote more effective communication between the government and the people through modern multimedia platforms. From Kano, Idris Jibrin, Global Television News.
In another development, Kano State government has rehabilitated no fewer than 320 primary healthcare centers as part of measures to improve healthcare delivery across the 44 local government areas of the state. The State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Abubakar Labaran Yusuf, disclosed this on Thursday at a press conference as part of activities marking the Democracy Day and third anniversary of the administration of Governor Abba Yusuf. Labaran Yusuf noted that additional healthcare professionals had been recruited through collaboration between the state and federal government and deployed to health facilities to improve service delivery. Over now to the Resident Electoral Commission in Ekiti State, Dr. Bumi Omosanyedemi has assured voters and stakeholders the readiness of the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to conduct a free, fair, and credible governorship election in the state. He made this known while speaking with journalists ahead of the poll. Ubong Usoro tells us more.
The Resident Electoral Commissioner in Ekiti State said the commission has concluded all necessary preparations, describing election management as a continuous process that has been underway since the last electoral cycle. According to him, non-sensitive materials had been distributed well in advance, while sensitive materials were collected from the central bank and deployed to local government areas.
Set up the RAC center at 12 o'clock, and from there, all the officers, SPO, all the officers that are supposed to work at REC, they must be there by 6, including the polling presiding officers, assistant presiding officers. and the RACTEC people. So all of them will be there. Then from there, 6 o'clock tomorrow, people will start moving to their polling units.
The REC added that INEC had strengthened collaboration with security agencies to ensure a peaceful and credible election. Dr. Bumi also expressed concern over vote buying and urged voters to reject inducement and support credible elections. He identified fake news and misinformation as a major threat to voter confidence, warning against circulation of unverified reports.
For there must be enough education to the people, not to buy vote and not to sell votes. People must change their mindset. People must change their mindset on the electoral process. They must not see during the election as James okay every time. That's the only time they can change their life. No.
The INEC boss, however, commended political parties for conducting peaceful campaigns and assured residents of smooth logistics and transparent electoral processes. Ubong Usoro, Global TV News.
The Nigeria Governors Forum has consulted state attorney generals on the proposed establishment of state police, with a strong emphasis on constitutional safeguards, federalism, and the protection of citizens' rights. Ogun State Governor Dakpo Abiodun disclosed this while presenting the communique of the forum signed by its chairman and Kwara State Governor Abdul Rahman Abdul Razak after its second meeting of 2026 in Abuja. He noted that discussions focus on reviewing proposed constitutional amendments and developing an appropriate framework for the policing system. You are watching the live broadcast of News Prime. News Prime continues after this weather forecast, plus business, foreign, and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us.
Hello, then you're welcome to Saturday's weather forecast. After an active week weather-wise, we could see some lull in rainfall as we get into Saturday, and that lull will be pronounced over the central states where there's some level of inhibition. So we expect isolated storms over the central states, and they're expected to be uneven. Rain should be better over the north and the southern states where we expect light to moderate rains for Saturday. That's it from here. Thank you for watching.
You're welcome back, and if you're just tuning in, this is News Prime on Global Television. Thank you for staying with us. In business now, effort to curb illicit tobacco trade and straighten Nigeria's business environment received a boost as the Nigerian Customs Service and British American Tobacco Nigeria signed a memorandum of understanding aimed at deepening collaboration in the fight against smuggling, enhancing regulatory compliance, and protecting legitimate investments. A statement from the partners explained that the agreement signed at the headquarters of the NCS in Abuja marks a milestone in the relationship between both organizations and underscores a shared commitment to safeguarding lawful trade while tackling the growing threat posed by illicit tobacco products. Speaking during the MOU signing ceremony, the Comptroller General of Customs, Adewale Adeniyi, described the agreement as a strategic framework that will strengthen cooperation between the service and British American Tobacco Nigeria in addressing illegal cross-border trade and ensuring greater compliance across the tobacco value chain. The federal government has issued transition guidelines for the implementation of the Tax Act 2025, clarifying how taxpayers, tax authorities, and other stakeholders should manage obligations arising from the migration from the old tax regime to the new framework that took effect on January 1st, 2026. Now, this was according to a statement issued by the Head of Information and Public Relations Unit at the Federal Ministry of Finance. The minister stated that the document provided direction on the treatment of tax liabilities, assessments, audits, investigations, disputes, and enforcement actions relating to periods before and after the commencement of the new tax laws. On quarantine now, the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF spokesman James Elder says a child is killed on average on a daily basis in Gaza since a ceasefire was announced in October 2025. Briefing the press via a video link from Amman in Jordan, Elder stated that the ceasefire declared in Gaza more than 8 months ago is a deadly illusion, with 265 children killed there since the fighting was supposed to have ended. Uyi Agbomofweke has the rest of the story.
Despite a ceasefire being declared in October 2025, Israel has continued to launch strikes across Gaza, killing at least 992 Palestinians since then, according to the Occupied Territories Health Ministry, whose figures are considered reliable by the United Nations. Elder stressed that the children killed since the ceasefire was declared were not killed in a war zone.
Since the ceasefire was announced in October last year, 265 Palestinian children have been killed across Gaza. That is an absurd, that is a devastating figure. So during a period supposedly defined by restraint and protection, a child is killed on average every single day for more than 8 months. Let's be clear what that means. These children were not killed in a war zone. They were killed in their homes. They were killed in their schools. They were killed playing football. They were killed fishing. They were shot. They were bombed. They were struck by quadcopters.
In addition to those killed, more than 400 children had been injured since the ceasefire was declared, with what Elder referred to as many with catastrophic wounds, highlighting the deep trauma suffered by Gaza's children. He cautioned leaders and people around the globe to stop accepting levels of child deaths that would provoke international outrage anywhere else in the world. Uyi Agbomofweke, Global TV News.
Zimbabwe's Constitutional Court has dismissed a challenge filed by war veterans against proposed constitutional amendments that could extend presidential terms from 5 to 7 years. The changes, if eventually adopted, could allow President Emmerson Mnangagwa to remain in office until 2030, drawing criticism from opposition figures and some former Liberation War fighters. Mukhtar Qasim tells us more.
The Constitutional Court ruling marks a significant victory for President Emmerson Mnangagwa's administration as debate continues over proposed changes to Zimbabwe's constitution. The case was brought by war veterans who argued that the proposed amendment could undermine constitutional safeguards and potentially prolong the president's stay in office.
Because the war veterans or the applicants who came to court failed to establish any misconduct on the part of the president. They failed to establish anything that he has done or has done wrong in terms of the law. And therefore they had no cause of action to bring to court. And as we argued, their case has been struck off the roll on the merits.
Despite the ruling, lawyers representing the war veterans say they remain committed to challenging the constitutional challenges and changes through other legal avenues. They insist fresh applications will be filed as the amendments process advances through Parliament and the courts.
Both applications I have indicated will still be in the courts. One by the war veterans going to the High Court, word for word, unchanged. And then the second one waiting immediately after the vote has been taken by the National Assembly. They will be back in the Constitutional Court.
The proposed amendments remain politically sensitive in Zimbabwe, where critics warn that they could weaken democratic institutions and concentrate more powers in the executive. Political observers say the court's decision is likely to intensify debate over governance, constitutional reforms, and succession ahead of future elections. Mukhtar Qasim, Global TV News.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israeli troops will stay in Lebanon as long as necessary, vowing to make Iran-backed Hezbollah pay a heavy price for its attacks. In a statement, Netanyahu says Israel will not tolerate attack on their soldiers or territory and it will extract a very heavy price from Hezbollah from those attacks after the military announced the deaths of 4 Israeli soldiers in Lebanon. Israel will remain in the security zone in southern Lebanon for as long as necessary for the protection of the communities of the north. In sports now, a French appeal court confirmed that Moroccan football star Achraf Hakimi will face trial for the alleged rape of a woman in 2023, which the Paris Saint-Germain defender denies. In February 2023, a woman, then aged 24, told police in the Val de Marne region, southeast of Paris, that Hakimi had raped her. The PSG right back and captain of the Moroccan national team, whose second match of the 2026 World Cup kickoff on Friday against Scotland, has consistently denied any wrongdoing. As Global TV News Prime comes to an end, let's take a quick look at our top stories again. Brought to you that the federal government has inaugurated a presidential task force on Ebola virus disease preparedness, declaring that Nigeria would not wait for an outbreak before taking action and vowing to prevent a repeat of the 2014 Ebola scare. In business, the federal government has issued transition guidelines for the implementation of the Tax Act 2025, clarifying how taxpayers, tax authorities, and other stakeholders should manage obligations arising from the migration from the old tax regime to the new framework that took effect on January 1st, 2026. And on the foreign scene, United Nations Children's Fund UNICEF spokesman James Elder says a child is killed on average on a daily basis in Gaza since a ceasefire was announced in October 2025. And finally, in sports, a French appeal court on Friday confirmed that Moroccan football star Achraf Hakimi will face trial for the alleged rape of a woman in 2023, which the Paris Saint-Germain defender denies. Now that's it on News Prime. A quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365, Star Times channel 276, and Free TV. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen by using @GlobalTVNG. I am Chumai Manson. Thank you for watching.